Nothing you ever do will be good enough for the narcissist. Nothing. You will never be smart enough. You will never be good enough. You will always be inferior and living in their divine shadow, because that's the kind of screw-ups they are. I mean, you can do everything in the world. It'll never be enough. Never be enough. So, they'll call you stupid. Then you get 3 PhDs and you're still inferior for them, even though they have some, ordinary odd job. Not that there's anything wrong with, the ordinary odd jobs, but it's just like they kind of have an ordinary life, but then they're like, you're not good enough for their grandiosity unless you are a great scientist like Isaac Asimov or Carl Sagan, or you have 3 PhDs and this or that. You're inferior and beneath them, but then they're like shoveling up crap and taking out trash, and in their mind, the narcissists are very, very grandiose. And because they are living gods in their own mind, no amount of tribute is ever enough. At least with things like the Persian Empire, they had taxes. The states, the outer states that they conquered would actually, they set up vassal kings, and then they would pay tribute. But the tribute was a set amount. They would pay this much. But for these god kings, these narcissists, no amount of tribute is ever enough. There will always need to be more, because they're like, fill my empty void and throw everything you have at it. And then they will demean you, and then you keep throwing more. No, it's still not good enough. Still inferior. And so where you're constantly giving everything of yourself, going crazy to try to basically fill this weird black hole they have in their brain and their heart and whatever, their soul, their existence, their being. You can never fill it. I mean, there's never enough quarters in the universe to fill a black hole. And it's the same thing with narcissists. Nothing you do will ever be good enough. It doesn't matter what it is. Don't try to please them. Well, maybe if I'd have done this differently, he would have stayed. No, he wouldn't have. As long as you're throwing quarters in that black hole, he's like, yes, but also they'll get tired of it and leave. And then you've thrown everything and then some. Oh, and then they'll like jack your bank accounts or take part of your soul and run away and flip their weird personality and go hit somebody else who will give everything they have at these weirdos, and that will never be enough either. So for these god kings, unlike the, Persians, no amount of payment will ever satisfy them. You will give them your heart, your soul, your money, your existence, your mind, your attention. You'll give them your sanity, and then you'll go mad, and then they'll turn around and Yarg! So don't try. Don't try. Starve the narcissist. And don't give them negative attention. That's why I haven't mentioned any names. I used to attack my narc, because I'm thinking, how dare you? How dare you insult me and cut me down after all I've done for you? But let me tell you, this is the kind of person he was. Well, this guy was in the hospital. He lived in Corpus, and I'm from the valley. I'm further south, so I drove up 2 hours to see this guy because he was in the hospital. I had a genuine concern because I mistakenly thought this thing was my friend. And the truth of the matter is, what happened was he had called his sister, and I love this. This is good. Instead of calling me directly and saying, hey, man, listen, I'm okay, but I'm in the hospital. I had this thing, but I'm doing okay. Would you like to come up and see me? Or, is it attention? Or, friendship. Instead, he calls his sister and says, overblow this whole thing so Ryan will freak out and get up here. So she calls me and goes, I'm afraid he's going to die. So I jump in my car and I drive up there. Whole time he's probably sitting here getting all, jacked up going, it's the kind of attention you're giving me. I went out of genuine concern. I didn't realize that what I was doing was being manipulated, to feed his stupid ego. So I buy him this book. It was a conservative, political book that I thought he'd like. I bought it $20. I didn't ask anything in return. I brought it to him. But maybe he could have said thank you, at least like I appreciate you thinking of me. Instead, he looks at the book and goes, he tosses it aside, like on the chair, which fell on the floor, and goes, oh, yes, and it falls over. And I'm thinking, not once did he say thank you. Not once did he say thanks for thinking of me. He never even thanked me for coming up there. He's like, I expect you to come up here and kneel at my altar, and the offerings you have given this God king are inferior. And he throws the book on the floor. You'll give me better tribute. You can't be friends with something like that. So nothing you do will ever be good enough for these essentially subhuman freaks. Just don't deal with them. Don't give them negative attention. Don't go after them. I'm using this as an example, as a symbol, as a philosophical kick puppy, but I'm not trying to attack this person. I don't even care that this person really exists anymore. In fact, this scumbag leaving my life has been the greatest thing, and I started training again and doing martial arts again and picking up books and studying music and studying philosophy and continuing with the history and philosophy of science. And my real passion is antiquities, the ancient Near East, classical Mediterranean world, and biblical archaeology and apologetics. And he's sitting here going, you can sit here and worship my image on my sailor boat, you see. But he already has some worshiper. More worshippers are better, but then he turns them against each other. These people are weird. Don't entertain it. They are nutso. One flew over the cuckoo's nest, wacko, wacko. One flew over the cuckoo's nest, wacko all day long. Okay, so don't try. Nothing's ever good enough. Ever. You know, so, and the more you put into it, the more ashamed you'll feel of yourself. They're grandiose.